And there we go. And good morning, good evening, and wherever you are, welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. I am your griot, and I am happy to be here. And it's a Tuesday, and the sun clouds are moving away, and the sun is coming in, and it's getting to be hopefully warmer. Right now, it's about zero, but it was 18 below zero, so things are looking up. And I've had quite the amazing few weeks. Um, Pretty much we had Indian summer all the way up to a few days after the election, about November 6th, about a month from today, give or take. I forget what day it is. And then it rained and rained and rained. And I live on top of a hill, so I didn't get flooded. It just kind of rolled down the hill. But I was under tarps and, not out and about. And then it got cold, it was in the 60s and 40s at night, and now it got down to, oh, 30s during the day, 20s and below at night. Then about a week before Thanksgiving, it rained and rained Monday and Tuesday night. It started snowing. It snowed all Wednesday. We had about 3 or 4 inches, and it was really cold. And then a warm front came in, and that snow turned into rain, and the rain kind of the snow dissipated. And then Saturday, the Saturday before Thanksgiving, it got warm again. Got into the 60s during the day and high 30s, low 40s at night. And then Sunday it was warmer. Monday it was warmer. Tuesday and Wednesday it was like in the 60s during the day and in the high 40s, low 50s at night. It was quite nice. I was enjoying. So, they sent me a letter saying that they were cutting my food stamps from about 80, $90 to about 20, $30. And I called up the lady who runs that in the 3 counties, and their office used to have about 20 employees before the COVID. And we live in, I keep saying I live in this 200 square miles of Appalachian Sawtooth Mountains, right? And to the northwest of me, about 40 miles, is Johnson City. To the no, that's the southwest. To the northwest is Bristol. That's about 60 miles, 50 miles. To the south is Boone, and that's about 30-something miles. And I'm right in the middle. And there's only one road going through it, that 200 square miles. I mean, there are lots of, I live on a what is known as a logging road. That's then off of a forest road that then goes on to the only blacktop road, right? And that goes between, north and south and a little bit west. So it's a good 40 miles from me to make this video or make some phone calls or do any of the above. So I kind of stay there because it's awful beautiful, and I've cleaned it all up, and it's, and I'm writing my novel, Legend. And if you go on to my xratted.blogspot.com, you can go see all my writings, and you can see the first draft of Legend. I'm on my 8th, but I haven't figured out how to, put it up there. And I have to thank you, audience, because a number of you keep putting a little whatever they can afford into my on my the dude awake 42 at Gmail. right? And now they can do it. Anybody can. Now there's some guy. Oh, give me all your banking information. No, it's like forget that. You know, go to the dude awake 42 at Gmail, and there's PayPal, right? So, and the few smart of you who are generous, thank you very much. Every time you sent me um, something in the last before my electric bill was due, and it was just what I needed to pay my electric bill, or they would have turned it off. And as of the beginning of November and December, they had, they weren't going to shut anybody off for electricity, but now they are. We're about to go into the worst case of the worst case, and they're now going to turn people off. They already started half, and there are a good chunk of people in my 200 square miles who've lost their electricity, lost their jobs, because they had menial kind of nothing jobs in restaurants and such, and they didn't even get any unemployment insurance, and so they're about to cut my food stamps. And for me, dandelions are still there. I'm still eating dandelions, and I still have a ton of canned food, even though I gave half of it away. So Thanksgiving, so it was really warm that week, and about Wednesday, a few people showed up, walked in, didn't drive in, walked in, because I am not that far from the Appalachian Trail. I mean, if you're going to drive from my place to the Appalachian Trail, yeah, it's about 12 miles. But if you walk through the forest, it's only a few miles, right? And over the summer, I had a number. The only people who visited me were folk who came off the AT, and those folk were mostly, homeless folk, and most of those folk were vets, right? Mostly from Afghanistan and Iraq, and mostly, I don't know why, but mostly the guys who showed up were Marines, and so over the summer, maybe 10 to 20 individuals showed up, and they, because I have a number of nice little places you can put your tent up and stay, and I do have running water out of a stream, and I do have a little electricity, and I do have a it's Cadillac camping, and so they come and visit and sit around the fire, and the guys coming off the AT who are homeless, and and all the soldiers, the vets, are people who broke in country, meaning they were deployed like 8, 9 times, and saw all the friends die and had unbelievable PTSD, but the military didn't care. They just kept deploying them. And then these 4 guys, I only met one of them during the summer. They were Marines, and they had been deployed 3 different times, and they had come from West Virginia, a coal town, which was kind of dying, and they were deployed 4 different times, and they signed up so they could, go in together and go through basic together and to be deployed. And the Marines had a program where you could do that. These guys were the good-looking boys who were the football stars, and all the girls loved them, and they're going to go be heroes, and they joined the Marines. And and they all had, the only thing they had looking towards to do is work in the coal mines, and their grandfathers and fathers all were Marines, and all were in the coal mines, and all died of celiac or black lung disease. But it's really not the black lung. It's not the coal dust that gets you. It is the silicate, the quartz. And because they have pretty much tapped out all the coal seams. And so, that's why they went to mountaintop retrieval and sucked it out that way. And the ones that are still underground doing it, so they have these machines that chop it up, right? And so they just kind of go through it, and they, it goes at the back of the machine onto a conveyor belt out of the mine into these big piles, and they, truck it away, and they put it through a process where it separates the quartz from the coal, and they can use the quartz, but they don't have. OSHA doesn't have real. So the silicate from the quartz is really what tears up your lungs. The coal dust just coats your lungs, right? So these guys, all of their fathers and grandfathers, were Marines. Fought in World War II, fought in Vietnam, and worked in the mines and died black lung at about 50-ish or 60-ish. So that's what these guys had to look for. So they went to the Marines and they got deployed, and they were totally, and they had, boxes of, silver stars and Purple Hearts, and these guys were heroes. And they were in this one company, and they saw lots of their friends die over the 5 years that they were deployed. And, or maybe it might have been 7 years, I'm not quite sure. And I know they were deployed 5 times, so how many years that is. And whatever girlfriends had or wives they had went out the window. And so they were in country, and this company commander, when ISIS came and took over Mosul, he was going to show what, he had just come in country. He, had just come from, he had no experience in the field, and he was going to go and attack them. And that wasn't going to, 100 or so guys going in to, go after a well-fortified, well-armed, because they all had American weapons. ISIS had, tanks, because we gave tanks to the Iraqi guys, and when ISIS came, the Iraqi guys ran away, and most of the guys who were in ISIS had been trained by Americans, a few years earlier. So, so these guys basically tied up their commanding officer, so their buddies and them wouldn't die, right? So for nothing, right? So these 4 got dishonorably discharged, right? The higher ups didn't want to hear anything about it, and so that's why they were in the woods. And the first guy I met during the summer, and he brought back his 3 buddies. And he told them, and the other people who kind of strolled in over the summer, they told, other people. So it was nice having 1 or 2 or 3 people. And I know they were up in the 18. I mean, they were not exposed to anything. They were like me, totally socially distanced by miles. And so anyway, so they started strolling in. And this Thanksgiving, I had 40 people. 40 people. Unbelievable, right? The word had gone out, right? And one of the 4 guys had talked to his brother, and his brother came and picked him up, on the other side of the lake, where the other road, where the tourists go. So the county roads are and there's places to wait. Anyway, so he got picked up by his brother, and his brother, coal miner, brought a pickup truck of coal and 4 turkeys and his deep fryer turkey thing with the whatchamacallit, the burner, right? So coal is really amazing fuel, so he dumped that, and it was in bags. He had it bagged, and he brought these I don't know if you ever seen them when you're going to have a charcoal cookout. You have these little stovepipes that you put the charcoal in, you put paper in the bottom, you light it up, and it starts the charcoal, and bingo, then you put it in where you're going to cook, right? Well, he had bigger versions of this that he had made, and you put paper on the bottom. It had holes in the bottom so the air would go through. And he would put in the charcoal, like briquettes, and start them up, and then put about 2 inches of coal on top of that, and the briquettes would get the coal going. It takes a bit to get the coal going. And once that 2 or 3 inches of coal was going pretty good, he put another 2 inches, and once that was going, but you had about 4 to 6 inches of coal in this pipe. It got that sucker rosy red, and he dropped off 3 of those. Anyway, he stuck around and he had some camping gear. And, people say, "Hey there, 108, good to see you, buddy." And people keep saying, "Oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to buy this. Go on." Someone said I should go on, line and order a wood stove for a tent, and it only cost me $200. Then another guy said, "Well, you should go get assisted living." There isn't any in the state. Tennessee is another one of these corporate mountain states. Did you get my PayPal? Yes, I did. Yes, and there's someone who can do it. A couple of people want all my information. Oh, I can't figure out. So yes, thank you, 108, Ian. Thank you, buddy. And Ian, where do you live? And how hard? I mean, you just went to the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail, and there my PayPal was, right? It was not hard, right? So what do you do, 108? UK. Okay. What part of the UK? I used to live I got married in Woking, right? And my teacher from Trinity in Dublin, he was a earl, or he had one of those big houses in Scotland. I'm in Gardner. Okay. I am a Gardner. Well, that's a great thing to be. That's one of the great, gardening has been around since the beginning of the garden, and my novel Legend, like I said, up there on xratted.blogspot.com, there's Legend number 1. I'm already at Legend number 8. And I haven't really figured out how to put it up, because the last time I stuck anything up, I had my internet guru, who no longer lives near me. He moved. He couldn't stand living in the mountains anymore. He's too smart. He got a IT job, and now that everyone's on it, they offer him a ridiculous amount of money. And so, I mean, he was a guy who didn't want to move from his neighborhood in the mountains, but he was smart. So someone offered him a job he couldn't refuse, and they bought him a car. They gave him a bunch of money right up front, because he was starting to do work for them from his house. And they said, no, we kind of want you to run a program, and we kind of need you here, and we'll get you totally set up, and so whatever you need. They sent him a car. Now John is let's see here. John is still on the same laundry list that he was, when I first met him. So he texts me. Where is it? I mean, just texts and texts and texts. It's unbelievable. Anyway, he just, he works so hard on the place. The place is all set up. It's all nice. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous, right? And he goes, "Oh, please come." And I don't it's like, it just goes on and on. Okay, so here, here he goes. So December 6th. I don't feel that happy. Maybe I'll be okay. I feel awful. Been alone 9 years. Wanting his wife. Almost back a few years ago. few years ago without my wife. I may want to sell, but he's never going to sell that school. Unless he fixes that road, no one's going to want to go up a stream bed. But the school is amazing. He's done an amazing job fixing up the school. Just amazing. I worked on a house so much last year, literally 24 hours a day for 8 months. Really? But really, I think it's from missing. Bad today. Pain in my body. Really. I mean, you should have seen the people who came for Thanksgiving. There were all these military guys who were blown up. They were, missing parts of their body, and they were in pain. And they all were on, addicted to painkillers that the military gladly gave them, right? And to finish that story, so I had about 40 people there, right? And there were about 12 guys in their military outfits. Then there were families, and they all too were military, but they had families, had wives and kids. And back in March, they all got laid off. And then in July, they lost whatever assistance they had. And they got thrown out, even though the government said, you can't, foreclose or throw people out of their apartments or turn their utilities off. But their utilities got turned off. And so they're out on the road. And there was this one woman who was Syrian, and she came from Syria. Her husband was Syrian, who went to Iraq and was there, and he met his wife there, and they had like 7 kids. And then, we attacked them. And she said, before America, Iraq was a nice country. I was a doctor, My husband, he was an engineer. We had a nice house. We had, 6, 7 kids. And then America blew everything up. And it just went to worse, to worse, to worse. And so my husband went to work for the Army as an interpreter, and they promised him, and they did. But once Donald Trump, they tried to, send him back, and so they kind of hit the road from where they were, and they were had menial jobs in America. She was a doctor, and she was working as a cleaning lady. He was an engineer, and he was working as a handyman, and they had 2 kids in America who were American citizens, and so they rounded them up, and they were going to send them all back, and they took the 2 kids away. Don't know where they are, and then the family tried to make a break for it, and they went up on the parkway with their car, and then they hit the woods right on the AT. And when the husband and the oldest son were in town grocery shopping, ICE, or those guys grabbed them and sent them. Older daughter was with them, and she got sent to Syria too. And the husband and the son got beheaded, and the girl was sold into slavery. Now, this is a woman who's sitting around, the cold tube, eating turkey with us, and she basically had everyone crying. And so, one guy had a fiddle, and another had a little accordion. And so I said, why don't we have some music? Okay. Because I said, so tell us, we were sitting around the circle. So they tell us a story. And that was their story. And it was so whatever I'm going through is nothing compared to these folks. The fact that my, food stamps by 5% is, but it's not just me. I called up the lady who runs it, who, like I said, their office used to have 20. Now there's 4 people, right? And before COVID, they only had 12% of the county. Now they've got 60% of the county needing help. And they only, instead of having 20 something people. They only have 4, and they've got the office locked up. The only way you can get any kind of communication with them is through the internet, and they don't answer the internet. They just, text you back or send you an email. And I know the lady, and so I have her cell phone so I can to her. And she likes it when I talk because I just ask her my question, and then she talks to me for an hour or two about how she feels, and she feels better. And so it's just, and the thing is, if Donnie Donnie got 74 million votes, I mean, he's a popular guy, you know and Biden won by 6 million more, right? Yes, no, who knows, right? Now, I wouldn't put it past anybody jiggling anything, and but it doesn't matter, except things are going to be worse with JoJo than Donnie. Donnie is like a known thing. We knew that what we were going to get with Donnie. JoJo, not so much, right? So, and the other thing is, the midterms are just 2 years away, and so if he shows, if he acts at the same level as Obama and him did, Congress and Senate will be taken over. And I would say, even if they win the Senate, in this election in January, still won't matter, right? And one of the guys who basically is starving, there's something, there's 24 million children whose only meal they got was when they went to school. Now that most schools are closed down, it was like unbelievable, So anyway, things were going to be okay. Yeah, I'm gonna, like I'm saying, I'm telling you, all of these other people's problems compared to mine are zip, As long as you guys send me a few dollars so I can keep my electricity on, I can at least, like last night, it was 18 degrees below zero. People go, how can that be? Well, I am at the top of this mountain, this mountain ridge, right? I am, and I'm like, and the wind doesn't so much hit me because I'm not on the tippy top. I'm like 1,800 feet below the tippy top. The toppest tippy top around me is almost 7,000. I'm at 5,800 feet. And so right over there is the tippy top, but I'm down in this little holler, so I'm somewhat protected. So I don't get the blast of air, but the air that's above me is really cold. It's zipping along. And so that's why I was 18 degrees below zero. And when I woke up this morning, well, not when I woke up, but when I, got my clothes, 3 pairs of pants, 4 socks, I have these great, it's like a styrofoam cup for your hand. It's like, so, we are looking at some woe times. And I don't know if I told you, but I had, I'm a kind of, that song, Love the One You're With. I'm monogamous with the one I'm with, right? And so I've had loads of amazing women in my life because women are amazing, right? And why should I moan and pine and weep over, I lost my second wife. And she's like, oh, it's the only woman for you. Well, she's not around, so she's not the woman for me. Yes, she's a woman I love. She has a special place in my heart. There are a number of women who, I was hanging with. And once they kind of realized that and realized, well, this is part of my heart for my second wife, but I'm still loving them because they're here, and they were like jealous of a dead woman, right? It's like, no, I want to live my life. So, and I'm an old guy, but if somebody shows some interest towards me and they're interesting and attractive and fun, hey, I'm going there, right? So last January, before the COVID hit, here anyway, there was this a woman that I met at Kroger's, and she was amazing. She was like Wonder Woman, but black. So black you couldn't see her. You know, she was like, she absorbed light, but when the light hit her right, she was amazingly beautiful and brilliant. She had like 4 PhDs. She was from Hawaii, but she's was doing a research project at ETSU, and she was living in have these little apartments for visiting scholars, and that she was in that. And when I met her, I almost ran her over with my little shopping cart. And when she turned around to me, she had a watermelon under one arm, and it's like January. Where did she get that watermelon? And she had 3 bottles of maple syrup, right? And she was blacker than black, and she had, if you ever known any black women, they talk about their hair is like and she looked like a lion, because she had, 1970 Angela Davis afro. It's like way out here. And she had it kind of pulled back, and she was just wearing jogging shorts and a tube top, and she had the same coat I had right here. She had the same one, but blacker than black, and I had the pink one, right? Anyway, she turned around. I was like that far from running her over, and I didn't. And I was there like, right? And she turned around, and her coat was open, and she was like, and I'm looking at her, and she's in her mid-30s, and she's looking at me, and she starts smiling and starts chuckling, and I go, I could have made a crack about watermelon and her being black, but I didn't. I said, I guess maple syrup just isn't for pancake anymore, because she had 3 bottles in her hand and a watermelon under the other arm. And she just started shaking, laugh, and she goes, your coat. And I say, yes. And she goes, you have that at Walmart's, right? I said, yeah. She goes, well, I went in there the other day and I bought the same coat, but black, because there was only a pink one and a black one, and it was on sale, $6. And this coat is amazing, super light. It has, girls' coats are much better than guys' coats, because they go below your butt so the wind doesn't blow up. Plus, it has the felty stuff for your head all the way below my shoulders. Then it's the super duper, science fiction material that, it's super thin, super light, but it keeps you warm, unbelievably. So, namaste. Yes, I love you guys. And so anyway, we started, she started laughing that I had the pink one, she had the black one, we had the same coat, same taste. And I was wearing my, pajamas, and I'm in the, the Rolly shopping thing. And we're in the parking lot, and we talk, and the sun is on us. And so it's January, and the wind isn't blowing, and the sun is on us, and it's actually warm because the sun is on us. We talked for about an hour, and I kind of roll over to my car, and we're talking, and she's looking in my car. She goes, you a homeless guy? I said, well, kind of. I live out in the woods, and I explained the Deep Green. I said, about 50 miles from here, I have this nice, Cadillac camping site. It's really nice. And that's where I live. And so anyway, we started talking, and it was a Friday, and she was talking about, she's doing this research, blah, blah, blah. And she's been here for a month and a half, and all she's done is work. And she's getting a little tired. She's going to, anyway. So I said, well, why don't you let me cook you dinner? And she said, sure. And I said, back at my place. And she said, sure. Now, who in their right mind would drive 50 miles with, crazy, my hair is sticking out, and white guy, and she's blacker than black, and I'm going in the middle of, Southern land, that song, Southern man, get her, it's that kind of Southern land, but not because there are no black people. They're just white people, and they're all poor, and they're all being severely taken advantage of. And because back in 1960, my county had close to 48,000 people. Now it has, less than 16,000 people in it. The mean in 1960, the average person was making $22,000. And today's dollars, that's close to 70 grand, right? Today, I make 6 grand a year. That's it, right? And the average income of the folks who live there, not the folks who own the big fancy houses, come in from Florida and other, this is only one of their 8 houses. And that's what's happening to, in cities. They redlined everything. Well, they did that to the 3 counties. And the rich came in and bought everything for nothing. I was, in my previous life, I guess, I was black. Yes, me too. I still think I'm a black woman. I'm black. I'm an African American that's melanin challenged, right? So anyway, this a very attractive scholar, we back into Kroger's. I got a salmon and a few other things. She runs, like the wind back to her little place, and I follow her, and she gets a few things, throws it in her car, and we drive off, and she follows me, right? And I make her really nice dinner. And this was a January that it was evening that it wasn't that cold. It was like in the 30s rather than in the teens, right? And so she loves my place. She loves the Cadillac Camping. She thinks it's great. And we, build a nice big fire in the fire pit, and have a sweat lodge. So we put the stones in the sweat lodge, and took off our clothes and sweated, and got even sweatier. And so garden hose from the stream, and we would come out being like 110, and we'd hose each other up, go back in the thing, and she loved that. And she got pretty frisky in there. And then we went to my man cave, and crawled under the covers, right? And then the next day, boom, 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 right? My next door neighbor's having a heart attack. And I don't wake up in the morning. I'm not a morning guy, especially now, because I have, diabetes, neuropathy, Charcot legs, and about 5 other things, arthritis, you name it, I got it. So I'm in severe pain. Every morning I wake up in pain, and I have to meditate, and I have to get myself straight. And then I can get up, and then I do Tai Chi and some Qigong, and then I'm good to go. So I was, she, boom, 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 boom. And so she gets up, and she's just wearing her tube tops and her little undies, and she's blacker than night, and her hair is like, Angela Davis sticking out there. And she opens the door, and it's my neighbor. And he is a Southern man, stars and bars, military his whole life, and he's having a heart attack, right? And she goes, sir. And outside my man cave, a little deck with a seat you can sit on. And she grabs him, puts him on the seat. She goes to her car, and she's a doctor, medical doctor. Wherever she goes, she has a little medical thing. She hits him with a EpiPen that will keep his heart attack from destroying his heart. And then she gives him a few other things to make him feel all right. And then he's like, wow, what did you do? And he said, I don't feel like I'm having, he says, you're still having a heart attack. You've got to go to the hospital. But you're not going to die, and your heart's not going to get destroyed by the heart attack. So they're talking up there. So they're talking, and I first heard, this ruckus, and then, I heard them talking, and they are bonding as military folk, right? And so she, comes and gets me, and she gets your neighbor, and he's having a heart attack, and he wants to talk to you. So I put on, my Carhartts and this pink coat and a hat, and come out. And he goes, listen, I've called my girlfriend. She's gonna, they know me. He's my neighbor. We've been around the fire. I've made him dinner a zillion times. Anyway, So he goes, listen, and he's got four, you know, a Weimaraner, a Rhodesian Ridgeback, and two pit bull mastiffs, right? Really nasty dogs, right? Because he can be a nasty guy, and his girl, whoa, she is like woo, and so he goes, listen, I told her that I'm going to be at your place, and because I wanted to be with somebody, not just have a heart attack there, and I'm going to leave my car here, and I want you to go up to my house and take care of my animals. You know, it's open. There's the heat's on, and he's got a nice house. Big house. 5 bedrooms, I mean, he's a well-to-do. He did well by being an army guy, and then he did well after he got out. And he's kind of retired, but he's messed up, blown up. He's in pieces. And so his girlfriend is going to come and get him. And so he says, listen, gee, we'll be here any minute. Ma'am, he turns to my friend, and ma'am, thank you for saving my life. I'll be indebted to you. But my girlfriend, you think I'm racist. She is like, and she carries a gun. So why don't you go in there? I will go immediately with her to the hospital, and I don't know how long it'll be. I'll call you, got my cell phone. I'll leave a message on your phone because I know your phone doesn't work here. Anyway, so he goes off with his girlfriend. We go up, and these dogs, and they meet her, and they love her. She goes, woo, and they just roll over, and she scratches her tail. And they like me, but they love her. So, and this guy, where we are, there is no TV, there is no radio, there is no phone, there is no nothing except satellite, and he's on top of the mountain. So he's got a pretty good satellite link. So he's got the internet, and she just loves being in this house, doing her research, and staying there. And I'm cooking her dinners and meals, and we go back to her ETSU little box and stay there a day or two, but the corona is starting. That's January, and then February's coming, and then she is called back to Hawaii, right? And what her job? She's in the Army, and she is she's a medical doctor, and she was also, this girl is like, she makes Rocky back in the day, Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was pumping iron look like Flabby Man. I mean, she had, she is a scholar. She was bred to be a scholar. Her parents are both doctors, both scholars, both researchers. And, they had her, and she, they brought her up to be a superhero. And, she went in the military. She went to frigging, one of the, whatchamacallits, military colleges, and graduated top of her class. She was a general of the cadets, and she did her thing in the medical thing, and then she signed up to be a ranger. And this girl, she had muscles. She had not an ounce of flab on her. Anyway, so we had loads of fun, and she told me, so she, told me a lot of things that usually, but I get people to talk, right? So she basically said, this thing looks like a biologic weapon, and because it's not killing a lot of people, it's just disrupting everything, and that's what a biological weapon does. So, that was that. And she went, and around beginning of March, she went back to Hawaii. And we have phone calls every now and then, just talking lovey-dovey stuff, right? Because she can't have a real conversation with me, because if you have a phone or this, they're listening to everything. So that's why I'm so general about specifics. So, and I've talked to other people in my circles, and basically what it looks like is that, they keep talking about reframing, restarting, and they are, we are, this was all to push the world into a new world order, that we've been in, since, Rome, basically. And basically, the real major tool they're using is this disparity between wealth and poverty. And back in the day, they said, why GDP was always so important, because as the gross domestic product would rise, it would lift all boats. Now, rich people would be lifted up here, and workers would be here, and it usually was about 5 to 15% between the president of the company and the guy on the floor, right? When Nixon took us all off the gold standard, and Jimmy Carter, drove us in. He didn't drive us in the ditch, but he was one who said, "Well, we can't have that much. We have to start, living with less." And then Ronnie came in, and basically that's when the disparations. Rich people got well. Good old Mr. What's his name? The guy who has Prime. The richest, Jeff Bezos, right? He made over $70 billion between March and today, because everyone's buying everything online. And other people, like all the people who came to Thanksgiving, which I didn't even invite anybody, they just showed up. They're living on nothing. It's so cold that how many minutes have I been talking? 46 minutes. The car went from really toasty to really cold. So, okay, let's see.
.com. And from Workday, committed to delivering quick insights to help finance teams plan for what's next.
What's next?
Workday, the
Weekday.
finance, HR, and planning system for a changing world.
A changing world.
Learn more at workday.com.
Yep. So, someone said, so is John going to help you? Right? I don't know. I don't think so, because he, on December said all he could talk about, I worked so hard on the place. Oh, I really think I'm missing. It just happened really bad today. Pain, my body. This guy does not know what pain is. So awful.
In a weekly constitutional, James Madison was focused like a laser. Called freedom of conscience.
Freedom of conscience.
We often call it freedom of religion.
Then today says, you are a jerk. You attacked my physical body when you were here and kept trying. And I hadn't seen him in 2.5 years, right?
Right here in WETS HD1.
I said, taught last week, place to attack to try to create a physical problem. Really? This guy doesn't even, his parents give him money. And I'm describing all these people who are suffering. And I'm, living under a rock where it's 18 degrees below zero. And that's the real deal. It's appreciating what you got. Oh, it's Democracy Now! Ooh, ah! Oh, baby, go! Yeah!
From New York, this is Democracy Now!
My hometown.
They was up there like doing whatever they were doing to me, hitting me, throwing me, macing me. My son, the look on his face, like he was petrified. The police department treated me as if I was an animal on the street. An animal don't even deserve it.
In Philadelphia, a black mother was attacked with her family by a horde of police officers is speaking out about the harrowing experience. Rakia Young was driving an SUV with her 2-year-old hard of hearing son and a teenage nephew when officers descended on the vehicle, broke all its windows, assaulted and arrested Young, pulled her 16-year-old nephew from the car, and grabbed her child.
Oops.
We'll hear Rakia in her own words and speak to her attorney. Then we look at how the ride-hailing companies Uber and Lyft scored a major victory against worker rights with the passage of Proposition 22 in California. They're now pushing similar measures in other states.
With its passage, this law will now accept drivers like me.
In 1980, close to 60% of the working force in America was unionized. Today, it's 8%. All of what I've just told you, and I've still got more to tell you, is coming to your neighborhood. It's coming to your house. More of this.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the Quarantine Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
Amy!
The United States confirmed more than 200,000 new coronavirus infections Monday and more than 1,500 new deaths, capping the deadliest week of the U.S. outbreak since April. Nearly 16,000 people have died of COVID-19 across the United States in just the last week alone. Public health officials warn the worst could be yet to come. Top infectious disease expert.
But they're not giving any money. They're cutting the food stamps, and close to a quarter of all the food that's grown in the Food Network, scene is bought by the government and food stamps, and I go to a food bank too. And there used to be 12 of them within the 3 counties. Now there's only 4. And the boxes used to get 2 boxes of canned food and vegetables and maybe a little of this, a little of that. And not anymore. The last time I went to the food bank, instead of getting about 20 cans, I got 4. Instead of getting, 2 things of milk and sour cream and cheese and this and that, 1 box of eggs. Now I thank you for the egg, the cans. Thank you for the, and they keep giving me the same cereal that I can't eat because it's a sugar cereal. And that's, what we are living in is a TV sitcom.
To lock in supplies of its coronavirus vaccine, giving other countries a chance to get in line ahead of the U.S. for the drug's limited initial supply. Woo. This morning, the United Kingdom began administering its first dose.
What is this? Who knows? So it's been an hour. There's 7 of you there. I like that funk, yes.
And do as I did, try and...
But the thing about Amy Goodman and Democracy Now!, she is always, and this is part of the problem of the left and the liberal and the progressive and all of that crew, they never put forth a real... It's just a complaint, right? And the neocon conservatives, all they go on is more for me, me. It's all about me. And that's the problem. No one's thinking about the we in me, No. What's it saying? I have no idea what it's saying. Anyway, and, as these platforms get more and more restrictive, that's what's happening. I'm just telling you stories and I'm getting bugged by things saying, hey, what are you doing? And I called John the canary in the coal mine because he is a perfect example of where the neurotic potential of our sociopathic society is going. And to finish up on our Thanksgiving dinner, right? So after that, sitting around, and this was Wednesday before Thanksgiving, that's when pretty much, and I got them all set up and they put their tents out and we had the stove pipes and the guy came and turkey just to, get his fryer together. And he bought a gigantic bag of sweet potatoes and he kept throwing them in the fryer. Were they good? He had a bunch of sour cream, yum. So, and he had lots of things to drink and other things to share, but everyone had nothing. So Thanksgiving came and we made a gigantic, beautiful meal. It was great, and we were all happy. And we were playing music and all the rest. And after that lady told us a story about her catastrophe of her family, and that, you know, that if she gets caught by ICE, that she'll, you know, be sent back to, you know, being, you know, to Syria to get raped and murdered. Basically, that's when I said, enough of this. Let's, you know, you got an accordion, you got a fiddle, let's play music, let's dance. And we danced, and she, you know, taught us, you know, North African, you know, woo kind of dances. And it was great. And her little kids, who she still has 3 of the 8 that she had. And it's, they all went off, right? And so those 4 guys who were the Marines went back with that guy's brother in the truck who brought the turkeys and the coal and the sweet potatoes. And they went back to Morgantown, West Virginia. And the guy works as, you know, you know, construction, and he has a little apartment on the wrong side of the tracks. Anyway, he texted me that 2 days after the Thanksgiving dinner, or the, no, it's Thursday, Friday. Actually, everyone left Sunday, right? They stayed Thursday, Saturday, Friday they stayed. Thus it was still sunny and beautiful, so everyone just stayed. They left Sunday. And what I did on whatchamacallit, on Saturday, we had another Thanksgiving dinner. And what I did was that I took half of my lauder. You know, lauder is the stuff you save up for winter. And I brought that out, and I gave everyone 20 cans, but nobody had a can opener. So me and a guy in the truck left my car there, because I try not to drive the car that much, because if it breaks, that's it. So we went to, you know, Walmart's, and I bought, he had no cash, and he had no money in his credit card. So I took the last $100 I had, and I bought everyone a really good can opener, $6 can opener, one that will open any can, right? So I gave everyone 20 cans of food and a really good can opener, and they left on Sunday. And I felt great. And about a week later, I got a text, and I just saw it the other day, and it was from the guy. And what happened is he went back, and his brother and his 3 friends were just hanging and just trying to, you know, enjoy a hot shower, enjoy watching TV, enjoy, you know, and maybe get a job, and maybe try to fit back in, and maybe, and one of those days they took, you know, so this guy had already worked weeks and had some money, was giving the guys some money so they could go and get some beer and get, you know, this, and they ran into somebody who they did not know, and that guy said, hey, I got some fentanyl, you know, or I got some, not, he didn't say fentanyl, but, you know, OxyContin, and it was fentanyl, and they all OD'd. The guy was away at work, they took it, they all OD'd. So that was, you know, like in our county, 6 people commit suicide a month. The largest thing, you know, people get in car crashes, get drunk, do all kinds of stupid things. But one of the largest things, more than the number of people who are dying of 19 in our counties, is suicide from, you know, OxyContin. You know, and that has never gone away. No one's put any money to it. No one's fixing it. And all of what little bit of, like, the 3 hospitals in the 3 counties, all have closed. They're all owned by a for-profit HMO. And they didn't close the buildings. They just closed the emergency room. They just closed x-ray room, the lab, the operating room, the ICU, and the beds. All you can do is go there and, you know, go see a nurse practitioner who will give you a prescription to get drugs. They give you the drugs. Right? And most of them, because everyone's hurting, are pain pills. And so that is what's heading already in American medicine, and it's really American medicine is only there for rich people, right? And the people in my family, oh, we're not rich. Well, compared to like the people around here, they sure are, And until they start needing their medicine, they think they got a pretty good health care until they, need it, And because every time they get, they go into this operation or that operation, they just get sicker and sicker and sicker. And so that's it. It's 1 hour. Let's see what Amy is talking about.
I just think she's a great person, and I'm so happy she's in my life, and she's my hero.
To see our full interview with Linda and Daisy Coleman, you can go to democracynow.org. They have both now died by suicide. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the Quarantine Report. I'm Amy Gunn in New York, joined by my co-host Juan Gonzalez. Hi, Juan.
Man, if you're either going to laugh at this stuff or cry, right? That's why I say we're a TV show. Aliens are why, once we get canceled, that's it. That's why things get weirder and weirder, because you got to keep those aliens entertained.
Where a Black mother who was attacked with her family in October by a horde of police officers is speaking out about the harrowing experience. Rekia Young was driving an SUV with her 2-year-old son and teenage nephew on October basis earlier that day. But Rekia Young didn't yet know about that killing. She was just trying to get her nephew and son home when she took a turn down a one-way street, unknowingly driving straight into a throng of police in riot gear. Trying to turn the car around and leave the dangerous officer on her SUV, broke all its windows, and assaulted and arrested her. This is Rekia Young, in her own words, describing the attack to the Philadelphia Inquirer in a recently published video interview.
Once I got close enough to see the cops, I stopped. Like I
recently published video interview.
Once I got close enough to see the cops, I stopped. Like I stopped right there. I was trying to turn around, but it was like people came inside me. It was like they were throwing stuff at the cops. Next thing you know, the cops started charging, My nephew was saying, lock the doors, because it was a good. Because it was a good banging on the car, saying mean things, turn this effing car around, and get out the effing car. And they had yanked my door open, but by the time they had busted the back window, they pulled me out the car, and they busted the other window. I was up there yelling at them, like, my son is in the car. And once they busted that window, they had woke him up.
And, so that lady's black. It's really dangerous driving black, right? And, but if you look at the statistics, white folks also get shot by police, and other folk. Right. And, what we don't have a government. We have a transnational hidden hand. This is all play acting, And, what Johnny is doing is, can you believe he became president? Well, he was put there, right? He spent 10 years on a TV show called The Apprentice. He was the apprentice to be president, right? And he was, why they didn't want him to win this time. They wanted the brain dead JoJo with the Camelot and the woke folk to have the next 4 years and have a war with, the guys, Mitch, Moscow Mitch and the rest, and like I said, when 2 years from now, and they have the midterms, the Republicans will take over the Congress and the Senate again. And whatever liberals are left in the Supreme Court, they will die, and they will get more, And so this is all scripted, right? And then Donnie will come back, Now, it would have been better for us if Donnie had stayed there, because we knew who he was. We knew, we wouldn't be surprised by his non-norm action. And when you look at what he's done, it's been no different than any other president, right? It's just how he does it. And what this,
My mom and my nephew asked him what happened. He was saying, car, open door, and up there banging his head. Like, as he was talking, banging on the car, he just kept repeating it. Like, he's still trying to tell the story. Like, he acts out, he bite his nose, he pull his hair in. He never did those things before. He's
called PTSD.
He's going through something. He knows
he's
words,
going
but
through something.
He can't express to me how he's feeling.
Rakia's little 2-year-old is hard of hearing and wears hearing aids. When the police impounded...
Again, you can't make this stuff up.
Disturbing police assault and what's happened since that night. We're joined by Kevin Mincy, Rakia Young's attorney. Kevin, welcome to Democracy Now! Thank you so much for joining us. It is such a horrific story. If you can tell us what the police explanation for this is, what they're doing, and how Rakia is dealing with her child who is so traumatized at this point.
Yes, Amy, good morning, and thank you for having me. The police have not offered an explanation as to why they acted the way they did that night.
Because they could.
With a police investigation.
Because they could.
They held her vehicle after losing her vehicle, not knowing where it was for several days, according to what they told us. And when they finally recovered it 3 days later, none of her belongings were inside. The hearing aids were gone. Her purse, her wallet were gone, and the car had even more damage than when she last saw it after they had smashed out all the windows. So the police response has quite frankly been unsatisfactory, disappointing, and really insulting to Ms. Young and her son, because Ms. Young committed no crimes and had done nothing wrong that night.
Well, Kevin Mincy, what do you understand from the police version is the reason why they stopped her?
And this is where the Democracy Now! Is, because they just play it like a soap opera, right? And they offer no, positive alternatives. Me, I'm out in the middle of the woods. People come, I make them a meal, I sit them down. I said, well, tell me your story. And we talk. And then if it's a sad story, like our sister from North Africa, it's all coming home. That's all I have to say. So anyway, so that was fun. An hour and 8 minutes, and I have to go up and do some more stuff. But I'll get a hold of you again. And thank you for everyone who sent me what they can send me at the dudeawake42@gmail. Thank you. Thank you. It's truly making a big difference for me. I really love it, And it's not like my job. It's not like, it always comes right when I need it, just in the nick of time. It's always there. That's why I don't worry about anything. People go, how can you live out there? Underneath my blankets, my electric blanket, it's 80 degrees, When it gets too cold, I just climb in and go under that and read a book, right? And I write my novels, and I'm reading the Bible over and over again. Thanks to John. John, all John does is hold the book. I said, well, John, what's your favorite part? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And he, I'm not, I want to talk about the Bible. That's really what Bible study is about, Anyway, I love you too, Holy. And everyone else. A bunch of you were here, come and gone, as you always do, and you come back and you watch it again. Tell others, subscribe, hit that bell, Go read my novels at xratted.blogspot.com. Get a hold of me at thedudewake42@gmail. If you can, leave a little something on my PayPal. I really appreciate it. And okay, so when it hits 11111, I'm going to go. It almost is that. It's 1:10:33. It just gets cold almost immediately. Okay, 41, 42. Oh, how about some more thumbs up? I love you guys. I'm always praying for you. Okay, here we go. We're getting there. 56, 57. When you look at it, it's like the watch pop. 59. So there it is. 111, 101, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I love you. Bye.